this week's edition of the New Variety Arts Show. I am your host, Brad Zinn, welcoming you to another chance for you to meet and greet a variety arts performer from this decade, the 90s. What else? So call the neighbors, wake the kids, get them around the TV set. We have an exciting guest for you tonight I know that you'll enjoy. And the New Variety Arts Show is your opportunity every week to meet and greet variety arts performers like clowns, mimes, jugglers, magicians, hypnotists, psychics, belly dancers, caricaturists, you name it, they'll all be here. And you know, when you see a variety arts performer at a cocktail party or maybe on stage, you may not know anything about their background, their history, and we think that's a fascinating story. Each of these people is unique in their own way, so this is your opportunity to meet them, and maybe the next time you see a variety arts performer live and in person, you'll appreciate what they do just that little bit more. And we think the guests that we have here on the New Variety Arts Show are the up-and-coming stars of tomorrow, as well as the stars of today. So please stay tuned, don't go away, we've got a good show for you tonight. Now, we want you to contact us and tell us what you think about our show, and the number to call is, as always, the area code. Get on the phone and let us hear from you. We want to know that you're out there watching, and it's always a good idea. We'd like to hear from you if you have an event coming up that involves variety art performers. We're going to try to promote those for you on the show, let people know where they can come out and see variety arts live. That's the best way to enjoy it. And now here's a fellow that we always enjoy hearing from, our musical conductor, Van Corrigan.
Thank you, Brad. What am I conducting today?
You're conducting the 88, but in this case, you're a little short. Yeah.
The wholesale version.
The wholesale version. Well, this does a lot of neat things.
It sure
you
does.
Get a lot out of this.
We'll get to use some later on.
Oh, good. We'll be anxious to hear that, because we've got a surprise show coming up.
A surprise show?
Yes, a surprise. I won't tell. I won't tip it just
okay.
yet. But tell us again where folks can come and see you.
Well, they can come see me and hear me play a 9-foot Steinway grand at the Phoenician Resort, which is in Scottsdale, right on the border of Phoenix. I'm there 7 days a week, 3 to 5 for afternoon tea.
Now, we got a correction here. High tea. It's not high tea.
No, high tea has another connotation.
Oh, I see. Something
in England itself.
Oh, it sounds to me. It always sounded to me like it came from the opium den or something. So, but that's not what it is at all. High tea, dude.
No, something like that.
Something like that. So it's afternoon tea, and they have little
tea.
Finger sandwiches and
from Chef Dahmer.
Goodies
right.
and oh, please.
No.
You know, we asked people to write in and let us know, or call us and let us know,
right.
and we actually got a letter, Van.
A whole letter.
We got mail.
Not a postcard,
no,
but a 29-cent stamp.
Really 29-cent stamp from the Harrises in Phoenix. And I wanted to read this. So, dear Mr. Zinn, my husband and I stumbled on your show tonight, which featured Chuck Fain. Remember? Well, you weren't there that night.
No, but I
saw it. That was the one show we did without you. Chuck Fain, the magician, and thoroughly enjoyed it. It would be nice if these public access shows were listed in the newspaper television listings,
right.
so more people would know about them. Well, we certainly agree with that. So let your cable operator know that you would like to have this listed in the newspaper. Maybe we can get somebody to do that. We feel your program is a great service to the music entertainment community, making people more aware of entertainers and artists among them. Thanks for a great concept. We hope your show continues for a long time. From the Harrises in Phoenix, Arizona. And we want to thank the Harrises for taking time to write in. You know, I wasn't feeling too well when I came to the studio today, but this kind of really perks things up. Now, we want to let you know where some of our friends on the New Variety Arts Show are. We have listing now
friends?
some of the people. Yes, remember Flash Covington?
Yes,
came and
Flash.
did magic and played the saxophone. He's at Rawhide and Maryland's. And Kenton, another magician here in the Valley, is at Maryland's. Bob Morgan, who is a magician, is at the Goldfield Ghost Town in Apache Junction. Gene Urban is at 10 Downing Street. He's also a magician. Kevin Barnes, an old friend, is up at the Excalibur Hotel in Las Vegas.
All right.
Jay Malbrough, he was here, still appearing in Ahaha at the Adobe Oven. And, of course, Kim Welsh, who will be here soon and who has worked on our show before, is at the Hop over in Glendale. Now, to our guest today.
Our guest.
I can hardly wait. You know, when I sat down and started thinking about first doing the show, I made up a list of the people that I wanted to be on. And our guest today was on that very first list of people because
Under my name.
Because he's somebody I've known for a long time, I've worked with. He is an actor, he's a singer, he's a comedian, and an impressionist. He's worked with a number of people, including the Righteous Brothers and Jerry Seinfeld. We're going to show you a little clip, excuse me, a little clip of Joe Corcoran The first thing that you're going to see is a little piece of film from a movie he was in called I Married Wyatt Earp, and it was with none other than Marie Osmond. He gets to push her around a little bit. And then a film or a TV series that was called Probe. And contrary to popular myth, this was not about a proctologist, and I know what you were going to say.
I know, I was on that show too.
Probe with Parker Stevenson, who is now married to Kirstie Alley from Cheers, and he's on that. And then we're going to show you a little piece of Joe Corcoran at the Improv in Tempe from a couple of years ago doing part of his comedy act. And when we come back, we'll have a chance to meet and interview and hear some of the great comedy from our friend Joe Corcoran. Don't go away.
Peacemaker. This new? No, it's today. Good. I can see that.
Don't sell them guns, Mr. Spiegler. They mean to kill with them.
That's what they're for, honey.
You take your business elsewhere.
See the new boss around here? Oh, Wyatt sure does bend his influence now, don't he?
Just take the damn guns. Let's get on with it.
Let me see that carbine. All right.
Don't do it, Mr. Spiegler.
Please, I can't let you have it. I can't. Give me about 45, Kirk.
Get out! Get out!
Fill up your look, boy.
You tell your boyfriend we'll be down at the OK Corral. Tell him to come on down. Bring the family.
I'm Austin James. I want to spend a few minutes with Josie. We'll need an outlet.
You brought a computer for the monkey? Don't let the dogs see it. They'll all want one.
Anybody here originally from the Midwest? Yeah, all right, yeah. Cheese margaritas for everybody, yeah. I grew up on a farm in Minnesota. We had a 300-acre farm overlooked the Mississippi on the Wisconsin-Iowa border. But our farm was just a little bit different. We raised boneless chickens. Oh yeah, real easy to take care of, you know. Get on your little doggies. But it was kind of sad on Sunday when we had chicken dinner. Real hard to make a wish. Just something stupid I wanted to share with you, and I wished I hadn't. I saw a 76 Pinto today, and what was left of the bumper had a sticker that said, "My other car is a Porsche." Oh, sure. Probably lives in a 2-bedroom shack with a sign out front. "My other home is a mansion." Takes his ugly spouse to a party with a sign on her back. "My other wife is Kim Basinger." A lot of Norwegians where I grew up. I'm mostly Irish, a little bit German, which basically means I drink at funerals. But I don't have a good time. How many people have kids? Whoa. Pretty much a sterile crowd tonight, aren't we? Monday night, 2 for 1. Let's go down there. You know what the Big Brother, Big Sister program is? Someone who's a friend to a fatherless boy. I've been on Valley Big Brother for 2.5 years. It's kind of neat, because now I have someone to wash my car for free. Eric is 9.5 years old, has red hair and freckles. He looks like Opie Taylor. He's a neat little kid. He's always asking for advice. I feel like Ward Cleaver without June, but I don't like wearing heels, and I don't look good in pearls. But you know, if you have kids, they emulate you, right? Good things or bad things. I think he wants to be like me, because the other night he got drunk at a pet funeral. And had a miserable time. I'll wait for you. I don't want to screw up your timing. Speaking of Las Vegas, you been up there? Cheap food, cheap rooms. I have a theory on how to solve the world hunger problem. Put all the Ethiopians on buses, take them up to Las Vegas, and put them on the Circus buffet line. Feed the entire nation for $6.95. I don't like working in Vegas. I had to work in this review show with this juggler and this magician and the worst Elvis impersonator I've ever seen in my life. God, he sucked. This Elvis impersonator would come out and lay in a casket for 15 minutes. Yeah. Talk about slowing down the pace of the show. But I kind of felt like I was at a funeral, so I had a drink. I've been real lucky the last couple of years as an actor doing commercials for things like Miller Beer, North American Van Lines. Several TV movies of the week, but it wasn't always that way. I started my acting career in Wisconsin doing touring theater company. We did kosher Shakespeare. We did such things as Hamlet, Two Tailors from Verona, The Merchant of Venice Beach. And it was just because of that kind of reaction that I was forced to move out of the Midwest. So, well, I moved out here, and I got a couple of dead-end jobs. I was a photo editor at a radio station, cook at a sushi bar, and then one day I saw Pia Zadora on TV, and I thought, you know, this show business gig is for me, so I gave up a promising career as a proofreader at an M&M's factory. And I was going to get fired anyway. I was letting too many W's go through. So. Like I said, I don't have kids, but I noticed you parents do this. You use age as a compatibility factor in dealing with your children. You just assume they're going to like another kid because they're the same age. Stevie, why don't you go outside and play with that new neighbor kid? What's his name, Tommy?
I don't like Tommy. Tommy's a butthead. Tommy's a double butthead.
What do you mean you don't like Tommy? He's 8, you're 8. Get on your bikes, go for a ride, get the hell out of my hair. Get out of here. I'm back when I'm done with my breakdown. Now, we should do this with every age group. Grandpa, why don't you go see George? I don't like George. He's a triple butthead. What do you mean you don't like George? He's 73, you're 73, you're both a couple of old farts. Go play bingo. Oh. Back when you win that jackpot. Sally and Cindy are both 29, you both have PMS. Go eat some chocolate. I know, at 2 o'clock in the morning, double fudge with a Dove Bar Chaser. And us guys know, because we're the ones who have to go get it.
Honey, Schnookums, Huggy Bear? I know it's 2 o'clock in the morning, but as long as you're going to the store anyway, could you bring back some Hawaiian potato chips and a salt block, please?
Some funny stuff from our friend Joe Corcoran. Joe has worked in the business for many years, starting in theater and as a radio disc jockey, moving on into films and industrial films as well as network films. And I see on his resume he's even worked for the BBC. And now in comedy clubs from Hawaii to Fresno to Tempe to Houston, and he's here today. We want to welcome Joe Corcoran. Thanks for being here, Joe.
Nice to see you, Brad.
Appreciate you taking time out to come by and say hello. Like I said before, I wanted to have you on the show for a long time because we go back a ways. We've worked together a few times. I remember spending New Year's Eve with you one night.
Yes.
One
of the most enjoyable evenings of
we both went home early. It was a strange evening. Well, you have quite a phenomenal background by your resume. Here are the different things that you've worked on. But let's go back right to the very beginning, because much of what you are today stems from the fact that you grew up in the Midwest. And
grew up on a farm.
I was born here in Phoenix, but my family is all from the Midwest in the Kansas area, so I relate to this as probably a lot of people do that you work for.
Yeah, my people always ask me, what, you don't act like a comedian, you don't look like a comedian, because I'm very quiet and shy, and I've always been that way. I still think I am, but when I try to describe to somebody what I tell them, I'm somewhere between Jay Leno and Bob Newhart with Garrison Keillor thrown in. And a lot of that, I think, comes from the fact I'm from the Midwest, and I did grow up on a farm. We didn't, well, yeah, sometimes we raised boneless chickens.
A lot easier to catch that
It's
way.
interesting to look at that clip from a couple of years ago, how much things have changed and
developed.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, a good actor, a good comedian never stops developing and growing and changing and adding too. I understand you came from a very large family. Or
Oh, we had 5 boys, no girls, and I literally went to a one-room country school. I did walk to school in the snow, and
God, you sound just like my dad.
one-room country school, literally, and we had a lot of fun. My parents, I assume, like all parents, your parents used to manipulate you by telling you that if you did something for them, they'd...
Oh, sure. It was the old carrot on the stick kind of thing. You
yeah.
help me and I'll do something for you.
My mother and father did that all the time. My mother was a lot like Dr. Ruth Westheimer, except she never talked about sex and she spelled words.
Oh, I see.
Hello, Joey, you're on the air. Don't ask me about sex again. If you do, when your father gets home, he'll tell you AWS. And my father was a lot like Howard Cosell.
Howard Cosell.
And he was the master manipulator. He'd, hello, Joey, Raj, Dwayne, Dave, Gare. The little woman. And field plow the bank, 40, milk those cows, bale that hay. I'll take you down to the A&W root beer stand and get you a trait. And of course, as kids would, oh, gee, yeah, that sounds really fair to me. A 19-cent root beer float for $4,000 worth of labor, and count me in. And I went to a Catholic high school.
Uh-huh.
St. Judas Stool Pigeon Catholic High. Bada boom, bada bing.
Sorry, our drummer wasn't able to be here today.
And we had 98 kids in our Catholic
98 kids.
98 kids, and that was from 3 families. And we had, there was another school down the road with 419 kids. That was a Mormon school, and that was from 2 families. Bada boom, bada bing. And I'm Irish Catholic. Which means I don't go to church, but if I had kids, I'd make them go.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yes.
That's how that works. Well, how did this all start for you, involving yourself in theater and radio? Is that where you got started, really?
Yeah, it's strange. I mean, I grew up on the farm, like I said, and I thought I was going to be a heavy equipment operator. And I spent 2 years in Vietnam, came back, went to school on the GI Bill, and I stumbled into radio. On my 23rd birthday, I was on the radio, and doing news. And a friend,
With that
college friend,
non-regional accent?
Yes, because you know, back home there, you know, if you talk like you do back home, oh, geez, you know. Because we talk about donuts and mosquitoes, you know. And
they have something in common?
Yes, oh, yeah, yeah. And I got talked into by a friend of mine to go try out for the play called The Fantastics. And
oh, sure. Longest running off-Broadway play in history.
And I was a guy, Al Gallo, who sang I Try to Remember and all that sort of stuff. And I started doing some theater, did some touring theater company.
There was some juggling
Yes.
in that, too, was there not?
Yes.
Some juggling?
Yes.
With El Gallo?
And one of those things, things kept progressing. And then when I was working in radio, I used to write my own commercials.
Oh, yeah, you had mentioned this to me.
Yeah, I started writing my own commercials.
Do one real quick, because we want to get into some other stuff, but this is a sample of where your early humor came from.
That's where my voices started. My
Because
brother
you do impressions as well.
Yeah, my brother used to do some of these voices, and the 2 I remember was Hetty's Wigs. We had a little Hetty's Wigs back home, and I used to write the commercials for.
Was this Wisconsin?
Yes, this was
Wisconsin.
Across
They have
Wisconsin.
a Hetty's Wigs here.
Yeah.
I always grew up thinking this was just a local store.
Yeah, maybe they have franchises. I don't know.
I guess.
Here, everywhere. And they had. So I would do Paul Lynde.
Selling wigs?
Yeah, you know, tired of that. Tired of that hair. Call Hetty's. Felt real stupid doing it, but and then my favorite one I ever wrote was it was Poggy's Pizza. It was a little
Poggy's Pizza.
Poggy's Pizza, and we had, I can't believe I used to do
Aren't
these
these
things.
great clients in these small towns?
And I started to do Walter Brennan, and I played Hang 'em High in the background.
The old Clint Eastwood.
The old Clint Eastwood
tune.
thing, and I would do things like. After an evening of watching spaghetti westerns, I got a hanker for something Italian. Look, little Katie Pepito and Hassie, we go on down to Poggy's Pizza, and if we want to stay home, we just get delivery. So I started doing these things and just sort of goofing around. I was singing at weddings, playing guitar, and being the DJ and all kinds of things. And I moved to Phoenix, it was about 12 years ago, because I got tired of being cold.
A lot of people come out here.
I'm tired of being cold.
Now we can complain about the heat.
Yes. And I started taking some acting classes at Bobby Ball.
Well, see, so this brings us to the point where you and I first met was because we were both Bobby Ball brats.
Yes.
So to speak.
I was running heavy equipment at the time. And
was there a lot of call for that in the film world?
Well, interesting enough, it helped me out later on, because I started acting classes at Bobby Ball, and there was this seminar that you and I were both involved in, where I went down to audition as an actor. They were looking for 10 live entertainers and 10 actors for the seminar. And it was Bob Eubanks and
Bob
Bob Bridenstine,
some of these big agents that
handled Rich Little and Gabe Kaplan,
right,
so they were going to
and
come
they
in.
flashed all these names in front of us, and of course everybody started drooling, and we all thought this was our shot.
So I went down to audition as an actor, and I was just kind of goofing around. I didn't perform off stage, but I was just being silly with one of my friends, and the guy promoter overheard me, and he says, "You got to be a comedian." I said, I don't do comedy, and he literally coerced me into trying out. So I went home and I put together the Tonight Show starring Jimmy Carter, because that was a bad year for him in 1980, as you know. And I had written a couple of serious songs, and I'd done all these little quick impressions, and I went down and didn't have a clue about what I was doing. And I remember having a bag of props over here in my guitar, and I went and auditioned, and they called 3 days later and said, "You're in the finals, and you're going to perform." So literally the first time I ever did stand-up comedy was in front of 300 people, and I was the 8th one to go on. You were on before me.
No, I got eliminated in the early
did?
round because the thing I was trying to do didn't work out, and so they said come back another time. But I was in the back of the room watching.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I remember being scared out of my mind because I didn't know what I was doing. And I used to do this and I would never do what I did then.
Yeah.
Because I had no clue about
But
timing.
see, this was at the beginning of the comedy club, right at the beginning of comedy club. So
was,
you were really stumbling into discovering what comedy was going to be in the 80s.
So I remember I had the Tonight Show starring Jimmy Carter, and I put everything in here, and I had these dumb, quick impressions. And one of the things I did was to cheer up a friend one time when I was at McDonald's, the old Jonathan Winters kind of comedy. I had an old McDonald box thing.
Oh yeah, the styrofoam burger box.
And it was like a Lone Ranger mask and headphones for the narrow-minded for Howard Cosell. And the thing that I remember was when I did my little Paul Lynde thing, if you think this egg is weird, you should have seen the checkout. And I remember looking down at Bob Eubanks, and he really started laughing, and so did the whole crowd. And I remember thinking, this is kind of neat.
Yeah.
And I ended up winning this thing, and then I went and performed at the Playboy Club that we had here.
Yeah, right. Now closed, now gone.
And the first 2 times I performed, things went pretty well. And I thought, well, this is kind of easy. And then I spent a long time learning how to perform in clubs and all that sort of stuff. And I did it on and off for a long time. I've actually performed more in comedy, stand-up comedy, in the last couple of years than in the last 10 years put together. And in the meantime, I pursued other things. I did my acting stuff and got to slap Marie Osmond around, and which she liked, by the way.
Yeah, you were the one with the beard there. You looked a lot different in that. and it seems like you're always, now in that film you got killed, and the other clip we showed with Probe, with, what was his name again?
Parker Stevens.
Parker Stevens, I never remember his name. The one that's been given Kirstie Alley, the big one for all those years. But with Parker Stevenson, you got to chloroformed and knocked out. You get knocked around an awful lot in these films. We're quickly running out of time, and I don't want to bypass the guitar. You do some very funny song parodies and some voices and stuff. Can you real quick give us give us about a minute and a half or so of what we might see you do in a comedy club? The clip we showed was a little short, so you don't see the whole act.
Well, I like to do voices and just parody things, whatever. If a face could launch 1,000 ships, then yours could sink a fleet. Bada boom, bada bang. You know, 2 people that you've never seen in the same room. What did I do with it here?
Joan Rivers and Johnny Carson?
Well, no, those 2. Floyd the Barber from The Andy Griffith Show.
Oh, yeah, one of my all-time. Howard McNear.
And Bob Dylan, because I think they are the same person.
Oh, kind of a Superman kind of thing.
Yeah, that's right. Don't make me laugh, Brad. I think you need to trim your beard there, Brad.
I'll be over for an appointment later.
It's sitting on the dock of the bay. Yeah, watching the tide roll. See, they are.
Oh yeah, a lot of similarities there.
Goes
I had
crazy,
never thought about that. You can hear them cheer and roar. Well, real quick, how did you develop your attitude? We talked that attitude is very important in comedy, and you said you kind of stumbled on yours. We all know Sam Kinison had a particular attitude that we could identify, and some of the other greats like Lenny Bruce and George Carlin. And you had a quick story about how you discovered yours.
Well, I always hid behind my impressions because I was I still am shy, and I hid behind them, and I was afraid to be me. Yeah. And I never smiled because I didn't want to be these guys that laughed through all the stuff. And one night I was doing Jimmy Carter or something, and a guy literally got me laughing very hard, and I was actually enjoying myself. And a friend's manager said, you know, it's real hard to dislike you when you smile and are having a good time. So when I found that, when I started talking about being the farm kid from Minnesota and having those things that are real to me, I talk a lot about where I'm from, things that really happened to me, you know, put that comedic twist on it.
Right.
And I like, I guess so it goes back to, I was home performing about 3 years ago, and about 600 people, and somebody came up to me and said, you know, your parents, you know, if they were still here, they'd really be proud of you because you got your dad's sense of humor. You got that kind sense of humor. You kid up, you don't kid down, just like your dad.
You kid up, you don't kid down.
So I realized then that just being me was enough, and
yeah,
it helped a lot.
Well, that's what it's all about. You be you, but larger than life.
Exactly.
Yeah. Before we go, we want to find out where people can come and see you perform, because you work all over the country, but you're also going to be here in the Valley soon.
I should be opening for the who am I opening for?
You mentioned the Gatlin Brothers?
Gatlin, there we go.
Gatlin Brothers.
The Gatlin Brothers in a couple weeks, I think, in Scottsdale, and I should be at the Improv here in Tempe in August.
In August. Well, look for Joe Corcoran at the Improv or with the Gatlin Brothers out in Scottsdale. Hey, Van, before we go, we want to tell everybody I have a show coming up, too.
Right,
not to take anything away from my friend Joe here, but we are doing a benefit fundraiser for the Phoenix Breakfast Civitan Club Thursday, June 25th at 7:30 p.m. in the Phoenix College Auditorium, and tickets will be available at the door, and those doors will open at 7 p.m. So we want to invite everybody to come on down to Phoenix College Auditorium for our full evening show of Illusion, and it will benefit handicapped kids going to summer camp. Joe, it's been a pleasure to have you here. We want to thank you once again. We want to thank Van Corriton for being here, our musical director. We'll see you again next week, and come on out and see Joe Corcoran here in the Valley. He'd appreciate your support. And Joe, we ran a little short. We're going to let you take us out with a song, something you do in your act, and meanwhile, I'm going to say goodbye. And remember to tune in next week on your public access station to the New Variety Arts Show. Take it away, Joe.
Two people that I think should get together and sing the 1982 Song of the Year, Kermit the Frog and Jimmy Stewart. Maybe I didn't love you quite as often as I could have. Got that right, Kermit? And maybe I didn't treat you quite as good as I should have. Go for it, Jimmy, it's your turn. Jimmy, it's your turn. Well, little things I could have said and done, yeah. Well, I just never took the time. Well, usually I took too much time. But you know, Harvey, you're always on my mind, yeah, you're always on my mind. Well, I'm gonna go home now and take a nap and have some Campbell's soup, so I'm gonna leave you with 2 bits of advice. 1, may the wind at your back never be your own. You can explain that to Van later.
And what's the other one?